This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave, on the Township website, and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Perry is absent. Councilmember Simonson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Beck.
Here. Before we get to the consent agenda, on the work session, we have a presentation from Lou Ginsburg. Mr. Lou, I know I saw you earlier. Front and center, please. A good friend. It's a talk about an event that's going to be held at the Knights of Columbus. So go ahead, Lou.
Yes, thank you, Mike, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, administration, and ladies and gentlemen. I am Lou Ginsburg, and you're not. I am here to invite you all to our third annual Rock for Kids Music Festival, which will be held June 13th at the airport out in front of the Everlon building, the same location where the Town Bank Fire Hall has their Oktoberfest.
Lou, could you use the microphone so
I'm
that we
sorry.
make sure we pick it up
All right,
on
sorry about
the
that.
camera?
And again, this is our third annual Rock for Kids Music Fest. The Knights of Columbus puts on this event solely to raise money to buy food, diapers, and other items for the needy and the poor throughout our community and Cape May County.
What's the date again?
It's going to be June 13th.
Okay.
The time is from noon until 6. The event will feature 6 live bands from the area. We will have a car show. We will have vendors. There will be barbecued chicken, hot dogs, burgers, salads, soft drinks. All that's for a $20 ticket for adults, $10 for kids 13 through 17, and kids 12 and under will be free. There will be games for kids and families as well. And it's really a great event. But what's more important is it's about charity. The proceeds of this event, as it has in the past, provides food, diapers, wipes, and other items for the poor and the needy throughout Cape May County that come through Catholic Charities in Rio Grande. What I'd like to do is hand you all a copy of this. Big feet.
Are you guys doing press release on this, Lou?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing a press release for the newspapers and
Yeah,
everything?
we're going to have stuff in the papers, as well as I have one here. I'll have it for you, sure. We're hoping to get in the papers on a couple of radio stations.
I'll pass it down.
Um,
Pass it down.
I have one question with you. We have some other handouts for the folks in the audience. Most of our advertising, obviously, is going to hopefully be by word of mouth. This is in Lower Township here. This is where our Knights of Columbus is stationed. It's Council 3546, right on Breakwater Road. But it is non-denominational, to say the least. It's for everyone in the community to come out and just enjoy a great beginning of summer, quite frankly. And for the price, like I said, 6 hours of live music, food, a car show, vendors, games. It's a great 6-hour event. Our first 2 years, each year we yielded about 3 tons of food from the proceeds that we were able to raise each year. And that covers about 1/3 of our year at the Catholic Charities Family Center. So again, I hope to see all of you there. I'll remember your faces. No, I'm only joking. But I think it's a great event. It's worthwhile. It supports paying your good fortune forward. That's what it's really all about. It's charity. And God knows we have a lot of people in hard times right now throughout our county, actually throughout the country. So, but we want to do our best here in Cape May County, especially here in Lower Township. So, Mr. Mayor, Council, guys, I thank you for this moment, and I hope to see you all out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. We'll do whatever we can within the township to push that and publicize it, and I'm sure everybody supports it. Okay, we move on down to the consent agenda, and we need to add a resolution with good reason. It is, we're going to add Resolution 2015-104. It's one that we've done before, but it's a little bit of boilerplate for the state that wants it resubmitted. It's a grant agreement between the Township of Lower and the State of New Jersey by and for the Department of Environmental Protection. It's the resiliency grant. It's the one that we have spoken of, and they want an up-to-date resolution and affirmation by council, so we're adding, and it's basically the same one that we did before. Okay, so that's added on, and now we go to comments or questions on the consent agenda from council.
Well, I'd like to mention Resolution 2015-101. This is the interlocal agreement between Lower Township and Fire District Number 3. This is something that has been in the works for a long time, almost a year, with the former manager, myself. I give a lot of credit to our own heads of fire, rescue, and police. And there's been many meetings with Mayor Gruen from Wildwood Crest, their manager. We finally, last month, Manager Ridgway and myself met with the mayor, their manager. They gave us a reasonable offer, which was taken to our Fire District 3, and it looks like we're finally going to get something done for the people of the Diamond Beach area of Lower Township. For those of you that don't know, their fire insurance has gone up to a rating of 10, which is the highest that you can have. It went from 4 to 10, and that's due to the proximity of our fire station, our Irma Fire Department. Its proximity to that location, it's outside of 5 miles. So with this agreement, Wildwood Crest will take over the fire portion of being first responder. So in the hopes that it will bring the insurance rates down for those citizens of our township, as well as provide even better safety for each and every one of them. So
I want to add that I really compliment the Manager Ridgway and Eric, and those of us who have been involved with this know that this has been a real problem that's been facing us. It's been a challenge. We've all gotten a lot of calls from people that are concerned about their fire insurance, concerned about the services over there at the Diamond Beach area. And Manager Ridgway, you dogged this thing. You got the meeting done. You got an agreement, and it's a good one. And we really compliment you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, good job all around. Okay. Is there any public comment on the consent agenda? Yes.
Ed Butler from the Village. On the issue which was just raised from Diamond Beach, the bottom line is, what's it going to cost every taxpayer in this township to lower the rates for their fire insurance over there in Diamond Beach?
Well, the bulk of the costs will be picked up by the third fire district.
65,000.
65 of the 75. It'll cost the township $10,000, which is remarkably cheap based upon what we're paying now as compared to what we were staring in the face originally going back a year and a half ago. So it's for $10,000. We solved a problem that is impacting a large, well, you know, it's not that they have year-round people, but there's a lot of people over there. I get that they might not be year-round, but there's a lot of people that own properties over there that might be out-of-towners and things like that that have seen their fire insurance rates go through the ceiling. And I mean,
Understood.
it's not their fault, and it's, you know, certainly not the fire district's fault, but it's something that we needed to solve, and I think this is, and
I
like
think that
Lars,
to be resolved a long time ago, and now it's coming to a head. But my question, the bottom line is to make sure it don't cost everybody more money. And if the fire company, and it's only cost the township $1,000
$10,000, $10,000, which is, you know, come on, that's a
But
bag
when
of
we
shell.
started,
Yeah.
Mr. Butler, when we started this process, they were looking at well over $200,000.
Right.
And they wanted all three. It was an all or nothing. And since that time, we've gotten to a reasonable $75,000 just for the fire, which is really a win-win for everybody.
I understand that, and it should be explained to everybody exactly what's happening in Diamond Beach. I know it's a minimum amount of people year-round, but the properties are there. The high ratables, they got to be protected just like everybody else along with their insurance rates and all. That should be protected by the council, regardless of whatever it is, fire, flood, or whatever.
Well, we're doing,
Thank you
you know,
for your
it's
time.
it's similar in a certain way to the way that we're trying to fight the FEMA maps along the bayfront. I mean, you know, there's an awful lot of people that in the township that the FEMA maps would not impact in any way, shape, or form, but we're taking that fight on simply because it has an impact on some of our residents, and this would be somewhat similar to that. And it's really, like I said, come on, $10,000. It's,
Well, it's
for
similar,
what we were looking at, we're getting off pretty good.
it's similar to that, but I hope that the people with the flood insurance will be just as well taken care of and represented by the manager and the council.
Well,
Mr. Butler, in this situation, I also want to make it clear that if it weren't for Irma Fire District 3, this couldn't have happened. These negotiations were quite arduous, and they made a significant contribution to allow this to come to fruition and get this document at 4:50 today. So all parties are working together because our other departments at this time, and with the scrutiny, we're looking at other budget items, we wouldn't have been able to do this. So I do want to make sure that Irma Fire 3 is commended for also helping us all out in the township, where we're trying to help all the taxpayers.
Well, I really believe that even with the fire companies, should be in tune with the township and the township with them, because they are protection for a certain area, different areas. We have 3 of them. And with that, there's no qualms whatsoever with the fire companies. I just want to make sure the taxpayers are not paying for a lot more than they should be paying for. And if they're willing to volunteer and help out with that, that's great. We need more cooperation with a lot of these different organizations. I thank you for your time.
is there anybody else that wishes to address the, yes?
Janet Pittsville's. I just wanted to clarify this interlocal agreement. Before, Wildwood Crest was a backup to us as first responders. So I'm understanding now Wildwood Crest will be the first responder, and that's how the insurance.
Wildwood Crest will respond first
Yes.
to all fire calls.
Okay.
They will bring the same apparatus and manpower as they would to any fire in the Wildwoods. That will include police and rescue. When our firemen, police, and rescue show up there, they will determine when to release Wildwood Crest personnel. But they are now officially, when we get this signed, they will be the first responder.
Oh, okay. Not just for fire, but for rescue.
Now, when there's a fire call,
Yeah.
this is an agreement that starts with fire. When there's any fire call
Right.
in Diamond Beach,
Right.
Wildwood Crest will be
The first responder.
first response.
Very good. Good deal. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address council? Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, March 2 and March 9, 2015. Resolution 2015-92 through 2015-104, and ordinance 2015-02, an ordinance amending Chapter 166, Animals of the Code of the Township of Lower. This is the first reading of ordinance 2015-02. The second reading, the second reading and public hearing has been scheduled for the April 6th, 2015 meeting.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes. Move down to administrative reports. Any council questions or comments? And then we'll move down to council comments. Councilman Conrad?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Councilman Simonson?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. First, it was very nice to see the outpouring of sympathy and also support for the Thomas family at the Town Bank Fire Department. About as nice as an event as you could have for something along those lines, obviously. And with that said, there will be a benefit for the family held at the Bayview on, I believe it's April 26th, from 4 to 7. Again, that'll benefit the Thomas family. I'd also like to congratulate our high school girls basketball team, which won a South Jersey championship. They also went on, unfortunately lost in the state playoffs, but it's only the fourth team out of any sport that's won a South Jersey championship at Lower Cape May Regional. So our hats are off to Coach Douglas. Scott Douglas did an awesome job. He's one of our own here at the Township. Also Coach Roy Wright and Pat Holden and all the girls on a wonderful season. You don't see a lot of seasons like that come along. And with that being said, we're looking at our budget. We still have a month left. It should be interesting. Finding ways to, get the budget, the tax rate down. I think looking at like an interlocal agreement between us and our own fire district, but really with Wildwood Crest, and I've spoken to them as well as, and maybe moving forward, there are also future endeavors that could save both towns money with shared services. We look at, right now the connecting bike paths with Middle Township, which won't cost our township any money, thanks to a shared services agreement there. We look at our county, which is going to be presenting at the next meeting in efforts to hopefully not only help out our police station and our fire safety and rescue, but also a county-wide, eventually dispatch, but also emergency management, which could be a mecca, emergency management mecca within this township. We also look at our MUA, which has stabilized itself over this past year. They've been through a lot. We learned that they saved $1 million and also put forth over $1 million back in the infrastructure. They've also offered to help us get our tax rate down, and that's something that I believe should be explored in ways such as even, we're going to have 4 new police officers on the street, and that's something that is going to improve the safety in our town. And I'd like to ask our manager, what would it cost Mr. Ridgway for, say, our MUA to pay for our 4 police officers this year?
$205,000.
So there's an opportunity, $205,000. I'm assuming that would bring us below a 2% increase, right? I'm guessing 1.9 or 1.8. Would that be? So this is something moving forward. Our goal is to make our town safer and more productive and more proficient as we move ahead. And thank you. That's it for me.
Okay. We look forward to having those conversations, very important conversations that you've identified. And I just want to say a word now about the issue we're facing with FEMA and the maps being changed, and the fact that it's going to have a big impact on a lot of people along the bay and close to the bay. So we reached out to Senator Van Drew and we ask him to get engaged, thanks to, in part to Rich Degener, who wrote a piece that talked about the left coast, talking about the Bay Shore as being left behind. We were the last to be considered by FEMA. We were told originally by the DEP that we were going to get funding to protect our shoreline. We were told by the DEP commissioner it was coming and that it would be a part of the Sandy restoration funding, only to be told at the last minute that we would not get the funding because our restoration was based on environmental concerns and not based on storm concerns. So here we are left with a map by FEMA that doesn't make any sense for the Bay, that's causing our taxpayers to have to pay higher insurance and could threaten the value of their homes and our ratables as a township. And at the same time, we don't really have a solution in terms of protecting the shoreline. And the only solutions in sight are ones that also take into account how we can help the Bay Shore as a region, protecting its environmental life. In the context of all of this, in the context of our concerns and a packed hall of people coming in here to saying, what are you going to do? We reached out to Senator Van Drew and said, listen, we can't solve this problem alone. Lower Township is in the same boat with Middle Township and up into Cumberland County. All the communities along this bay share a concern about how the FEMA treats this region. And so as a result of our appeal, Senator Van Drew has called a meeting this Thursday, March 19th. It's going to be at 3 p.m. He's invited all of the townships to participate. He's got the who's who of state and federal government, federal representatives, as well as state representatives of the DEP coming to hear our concerns and to make sure that they understand what we're facing. It's going to be Thursday, March 19th, 3 p.m. at the Dennis Township Community Room on 571 Petersburg Road in Dennisville, New Jersey. That's this Thursday. And we've also, I asked Manager Ridgway to send a letter on behalf of council to Congressman Lobiondo. We all talked about that, how important it would be to get him engaged. We need him engaged, and I thought it would be good coming from the whole township, inviting him to wrap his head and his team's head around this concern, because we need all hands on deck with this one.
We did get Frank down, Congressman Lobiondo, and he's viewed some of these things that were there, but I'm trying to get him to come down again. And that's what we really need, is he's the one that has, with FEMA, let's face it.
Yep. So that's all I have to say about that.
Deputy Mayor, could you give out that address one more time?
Yes,
please?
sir. That is
What time is that?
3 p.m. on the 19th. That's Thursday. Okay, it's the Dennis Township Community Room, 571 Petersburg Road, Dennisville, New Jersey.
Thank you.
All right. You done?
Yes, sir.
All I have is a free breakfast. We're still pushing at the a great organization, Lower Township Rotary Club for veterans. And that's this week. And I believe it started today. It did March 16th through Friday, March 20th. And this will be at Uncle Bill's. One time only now. Don't go, you can't go back every day. You have to show proof of residency and your veteran's card or veteran ID. This is down at Uncle Bill's, March 16th through Friday, March 20th. And we're grateful for their generosity. And we move on from that, and we open it up to public comment. If you have any comment, come on down, and you're pointing to somebody. Yes, this gentleman. We have a contestant.
In the back, you have Bob also.
Say it again.
Bob Donnelly.
Okay. Donahue.
Yes, Jim.
Go ahead, Bob.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. My first comment is an off-the-cuff comment to Mr. Simonson. As a ratepayer to the MUA, I'm opposed to what you're saying. I don't think it's fair that all the residents of the township take the MUA's money to supplement the budget this year. Please don't ask them to do it. I'll be opposed at the MUA meeting as I'm opposed to it right now. It is not fair for the MUA to supplement the township's budget because our ratepayers are paying the rates there. They don't need to pay it here. Thank you. Mr. Ridgway, the flag is at half-mast at Douglas Park. Can you please get the workers down there to raise it up? I think the lanyard's broken. It's been at half-mast for at least 2 weeks. That's just an aside. I visit the park almost every day, and it shouldn't be at half-mast. That's just an aside. It's with great sadness that I read about the death of our township employee.
Excuse me, sir. You said for the past 2 weeks. I do know we lost one of our employees, and we lowered all our flags.
Yeah, this has been down.
Well, you said the past 2 weeks. That's been in the past 2 weeks. So I want to make sure of this
But
because.
no, it's broken. If
Okay.
you have an employee check it, you'll find
Sure.
out it's broken because the Vietnam flag is not there either.
Okay.
I mean, the flag is down at half-mast, but it's been that way. It's with great sadness that I read about the death of our township employee 2 weeks ago, and I know it was reported at the town meeting. I travel the Fishing Creek Road at least 3 times a week, from Breakwater past Tabernacle to Seashore. The area from Tabernacle to Seashore is probably the worst road in the entire township. But it's quite often that I go there and the sign says road flooded. It's been that way almost the whole winter. Road flooded, road flooded. It's flooded more than it's open. I know that it's a county road, but we as a township need to do something about it. The road that this winter has been terrible on it because it floods, it freezes, it's broken, it's got bumps big enough to sink a small car into. It's been repaired a couple of times, but the repairs are not good because it continues to flood. We have a lot of potholes in it right now. There's potholes on top of potholes. The potholes have been fixed, then there's more potholes on top of the ones that have been fixed. No one has reported what caused this tragic accident. I know it was 7 o'clock in the morning, so it had to be pretty clear. I don't think it was a rainy morning. Speculation remains as to what happened there. The governing body needs to let the county know that we cannot put up with this condition on this Fishing Creek Road. It's just not fair to anyone living in this township to have that road in such deplorable condition. Nothing other than a complete resurfacing of that road can fix it. And then besides that, we need to find a place for the water. So it needs to be dug, the water needs to be run off that road. It can't stay there all the time. Every time it rains, the water stays there. The road flooded sign has probably been up almost the whole winter. Please, let our county engineer, Dale Foster, know of our concerns. This shouldn't have happened. Maybe it didn't need to happen. If we had gotten on it last summer, last fall, last winter before this happened.
I think the county did do some paving over there. Gary, you could probably tell me.
Yeah, some minor
Get
repairs.
back in the fall. But, maybe we need to take a look at that road and then notify the county what we see over there, Gary.
I will tell you that I was in contact with Mr. McCall, who is now in charge of the county road situation. I addressed 6 issues which were taken care of within 2 days. We also sent, as a township, 2 letters to Mr. Foster asking for help with 2 issues where vehicles have left our roads and been dangerously close to hitting homes. One car went off the Westgate May Bridge, and it's the second time it's happened to a resident. And we have challenged them repeatedly to help us. But with the issues in the township on the roads, I will say they came out immediately. I think we have another serious problem right down here at the intersection of
Bay Shore and
Fishing Creek and Breakwater right here.
Yes.
We patch, a week later, we patch. And the county, I see the trucks there, but I hear you, sir, but I read the newspaper. This winter has been gruesome. And when I see the headlines in the Atlantic City Press with a municipality last year, 160,000 potholes, this year 300,000 potholes. So I just don't feel it's Lower Township. It's everywhere with this winter. And the winter we've had here, our public works people and our public safety, including the police, I want to give them a lot of credit for being out there working in these conditions and getting the job done. But I hear you. I've written everything down you've asked for, and I certainly will follow up with each of those concerns.
I thank you for that, and I know it's not just me. There's many residents that travel that road. No, it's a deplorable, crappy road. Let's face it. It needs complete resurfacing. Let's get after the county.
We also have Bay Shore and Falling Mill, which has to get repaired, because that's gotten a lot worse over the winter, but they filled a lot of potholes. But the grant we just redid the resolution for, the coastal resiliency, that hopefully is going to help with some of the flooding issues, and that's what it's there for, to look at what do we have to do to Cox Hall to get the water down, because that's where the watershed is, and for Fishing Creek, the north end of the villas.
I hope
This
so.
is what we're fighting for, we need engineering numbers to get that water down, because they're not going to
We
listen
got
to
to do
us.
something quickly before we have another fatal accident. We've had more than one accident there, just a fatal one recently. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for
Thank you,
your
Bob.
time.
Let's address, Bob, I saw your hand up in the back here. Helen, you're next.
Bob Donachie, I'm from Villas. This is mostly information. I just recently found out myself that as a veteran, if you take your DD 214, if you were in the service from 1957 to 1971, a lot of times Social Security did not take into consideration some of the money that was wangled around there. I went over myself when I found out about it. I'm now getting $92 and change extra a month. This is just, I'm trying to inform everybody else. Another guy down there, he's getting 130 some more. So I'm just trying to pass it on to everybody else.
Thank you.
You have
Thank
to take,
for sharing.
you have to take a copy of your DD 214 over.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Helen?
Helen Thompson, 44 East Delaware, wait a minute. 44 East Delaware Parkway Villas. This is concerning the dog ordinance, extreme weather ordinance. And Mr. Conrad, last week, or last meeting, I thought it was you that said about the concrete floor. I'm sorry, it was not. I was in the back of the room, it was Mr. Perry. I rewatched the video.
Okay.
Okay. And anyway, I understand he's not here tonight, but he did say that he feels, okay. Extreme weather ordinance from 2 weeks ago said, the last line said, the garage and basement unless this is about, okay, indoors will include any area of the residence which is temperature controlled, the garage and basement unless heated in cold months or air conditioned in hot months will not be considered adequate. I feel that unless and considered adequate are important statements there. And the new ordinance, you guys rewrote it because of what Mr. Perry said about concrete floors are cool enough. Says indoors will include any area of the residence and shall conform to the above temperature specifications. So this ordinance rewritten now allows, I have pneumonia, I'm sorry. Anyway, it's hard for me to breathe. This ordinance rewritten now allows people, the temperatures written above are 32 and 90, to put dogs in an unair-conditioned garage at 89 degrees, and there's nothing animal control could do. And-
I don't even know how we would enforce it were we so inclined to put it in there. I mean, we're not going to send people around with thermometers to go into garages and stuff. I mean, the reality is, like we said last time, look, everybody up here is, we all love animals, and nobody wants to see any animal abused. There's a caveat in there that basically protects that. If somebody put an animal in a house in a closed environment, and something happened to the animal and our people went over there, I feel confident that Section G, number one, no owner or caretaker shall withhold proper shelter, protection from weather, et cetera, et cetera. They could be charged under that.
Really?
Yes.
In 2006, Cape May County Animal Shelter, when they opened with no air conditioners. In 2006, it was splattered all over the papers that dogs were having heat-related sicknesses and seizures in there. They were closing the place down during the day in the summer.
Right.
It was too hot in there. It was close to 90 degrees in there. Dogs were having, and animal workers, animal shelter workers, animal shelter representatives said it was disgusting what was going on in there. And dogs were dying in there.
Right. But we're
89
talking
degrees,
about
90
private
I understand
residences
that, and
here.
you're allowing, by rewording that ordinance and weakening it, and that's what you did, in my opinion, you're allowing dogs now that, as long as the temperature is 89 degrees in the garage, the other ordinance said the garage and basement, unless heated and cold or air-conditioned in hot months, will not be considered adequate. That means animal control has the option of considering this adequate, garage and basement. In this ordinance rewritten, animal control does not have the option of considering anything adequate. Those words, in my opinion, are very important, and you're talking, and I believe that will affect dogs in the summer, because the majority of people, in my opinion, take care of their animals. There are some, but that don't maybe, or too busy or whatever. You got to give animal control ordinances that they can enforce, or the police department, or whoever's going to enforce these ordinances. You can't, that's what's wrong with New Jersey laws. That's why we rate number 37th in animal protection laws. They're weak. They're broad, they're weak, they're up to interpretation, and they're unenforceable, basically. They get thrown out in court, is what I'm trying to say. If you're going to put an ordinance on the books, I am asking you to go back to the one that you had and put a strong ordinance out there, something that has teeth to it and that animal control can enforce. And
Thank you.
that's what I'm asking you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address council? Gentleman in the back.
Good evening. Brian O'Connor, Chairman of the LTMUA. If you folks would like to ask us for money for specific things, by all means, put it in a resolution and send it over to us, and the board will take a look at it.
Thank you. Does this gentleman wishes to address council?
Ed Butler from the Villas. A little while back, a resident stood up and addressed Mr. Simonson about money from the MUA. That's ratepayers' money. Twice before this, it was tried, and actually your commissioners turned it down. It seems like right now there's a different group of people there that might go for this, but they're using ratepayers' money. It's not taxpayers' money. If everybody belonged to the MUA and everything was hooked up, there'd be no problem with that. It is a state law. We know it's there. It can be exercised that way, but it's up to the commissioners of the MUA to accept it or not accept it. And if they want to keep that solvent down there and keep it going, because it seems like they got plenty of money and their surplus is real good, they're willing to give it away. But you know what? It's not this township's taxpayers' money to balance your budget or bring it down. Mr. Simonson, what would you do otherwise to bring this budget down, or what would you suggest to help this out?
Well, let me ask you a question. Are you a ratepayer?
Yes, I am.
Are
Are you?
Yes, I am. Are you a
All right, so we
taxpayer?
both are. We can talk that way.
Yeah. Are you a taxpayer? Obviously, we
Oh.
both are, correct?
Come on, man. You know better than that. You know where I live. I
You're
know where
Mr.
you live.
Taxpayer.
Yes, I am.
Well, as a municipality, we have the right to ask for that. As we all know, up to 5%. I've asked before, and they can say no, they can turn it down. But I find nothing wrong with that, no. I'm a taxpayer and a ratepayer. If it helps out the town, I'm all for it.
But you know what? You're a councilman. What are you doing to bring this budget down and bring it in line on the different issues that's on there? Nobody's talked about it yet tonight or any other night so far. Issues on the budget that could be brought down. Maybe you have issues, maybe Mr. Conrad has issues, could bring it down. Maybe Deputy Mayor has, maybe the mayor has. But come on, guys, nobody said anything. All you're going to do is take money from the MUA to bring it down a little bit, and where's the rest of it? What are
Well,
you
we
going to
did
do to
discuss-
bring this budget down?
We did discuss what is going to cost us $10,000, could have cost us $225,000. So there's a start. That's one thing tonight that we talked about.
Mr. Butler, I'd like to give you a couple different things that will answer your question that I've been working on for just about 3 to 4 weeks. And one does involve the MUA. I have been working on shared service agreements moving forward. These agreements do not get done in a couple weeks. I'm working on one with Middle Township. The same scenario, and in all of these, if you come April 6th, where you'll be here, you'll see a conceptual design which also will involve shared service, which will help the taxpayers. There's 3 answers as to what I've been working on to bring that tax rate down.
Now, I got a question, Ed. You got me kind of confused. Last week at the MUA meeting, you told them not to give money to the different recreation programs because that money should be used to save the taxpayers' money.
I'll say the same thing here with this
Okay,
township.
but now you're arguing against it.
You what?
You said that money should be, any money they spend should be used to save the taxpayers, help the taxpayers. And you said that.
It shouldn't be donated to private organizations,
But
as
it's,
they've been doing, as you heard me say
yes, but
down
you said
there
it should be used to
with-
save the
with-
taxpayer money.
with the bright light law. And the same thing should apply to this township. We're too generous in this township.
Okay, but I'm just arguing, my thing is, last week at the MUA, you said, use that money instead to save the taxpayers' money, and this week you're saying, don't use the money to save the taxpayers' money. So where are you coming from?
I'm coming from
No, he
that,
saate taxpayer, I was there.
that's ratepayers' money.
Yeah, I know that, but you
That's
said
the
save the
taxpayers'
taxpayers.
money.
That's what you
You
said.
shouldn't use that for taxes.
A ratepayer is our taxpayers.
But I'm just saying, that's what you said at the MUA meeting, so.
Are you inclined to put a resolution on for the next meeting with this request?
We could possibly do that.
Well, I'm just asking because if we're going to,
No,
have
is
discussion twice,
it possible, or is it going to happen?
Come
Come on, bring it out.
I don't support it, obviously, we know that. I have a history of not supporting it, and I have a variety of reasons. But if it's not going to be brought up,
I
why
support
would
it.
we go
I
through
mean,
why would we go through the?
I did bring it up.
Brought
I
up
obviously support it.
and forwarded. I mean, to sit there and offer an opinion that that's something you could do is one thing. To sit back and say, well, let's put a resolution on, then I'll sit back and say, okay, the following reasons I don't support that. But if we're not intending to put it out there, then we're just going to have a discussion and a long thing on something that's basically hypothetical here. I'm asking, are you going to put it on at the next meeting? Because then we can have, the debate on the topic at that point.
Yes, I will put it on for the next
Okay.
meeting.
So, I mean, I don't support it. I don't, we know that. And there's
All right.
a whole bunch of reasons.
Hopefully, there's more people in this township that'll start thinking about this as brought out and not using ratepayers' money for taxes. Each one of you guys up there sitting there have a responsibility to try to lower those taxes from 2.5 and not all of a sudden just say we're going to take MUA money and do it and bring it down to 1.6, 1.7, everybody's happy. No, there's more to it than this, and those taxes got to be brought down. You guys should come in everywhere around us. All these other townships and all the towns are coming in with zero taxes. They're doing their job. They're bringing it down. I don't hear nothing from this
Wait,
town.
zero? Where did you see that? How many towns are zero this year?
I'm sorry, sir.
How many towns are at zero this year?
I didn't catch it.
I'm sorry, who's at the mic here? Who's talking? Because I can tell
I
you,
think you can hear it. How many towns are at?
Well,
Alan, you can't do that. You can't.
well, let me tell you something, as someone who's worked on many budgets in my life and done some numbers, I'm not an expert, but I can tell you, when you have a tax rate and you raise it to 2.9 one year, and you bring it down to zero the next year, there's obviously, you're going to end up somewhere in the middle the following year. That's common sense. That's what's happened here. So we're going to do the best we can to get it down as low as possible.
you have a philosophy with your accountant that it should be raised every year a little bit so you have certain.
Exactly, but it was raised 2.9%
You know-
years ago.
And
But come on now.
well, hold on a second. I have to answer this. Why was it raised 2.9 cents, not percent, cents?
2.9 cents, I don't know, you tell me.
I will. It was raised that way because of a loss of revenue. That was when we went immediately to the reassessment.
Right.
That had nothing to do with spending. It had to do with people and tax appeals. And what we did was immediately brought that under control, because if we had not, you would have had a 2.9 again the following year. If we had not moved judiciously and immediately corrected a problem, that 2.9 increase 2 years ago didn't generate money for the township to spend. It didn't increase the budget. What you had happen was a whole bunch of people had gotten tax appeals, so they were paying less taxes because the value of their homes dropped. Everybody else had to make that money up. The following year, we went at breakneck speed to have a reassessment, which went online last year and brought it back into balance, so everybody was paying their fair share. It saw some people's taxes go back up, especially those people who had been getting a tax holiday due to their tax appeals. They were returned to the balance that they should have been. We lowered a lot of properties in the township last year, and that's why that situation. It was not spending.
It's still, I didn't, my point is it went from 2.9 to zero.
It did because what you did now have is a fair, valued assessment within the township.
Again, it went from 2.9 to zero.
Well, you make it
I
sound
can
as if...
spin it any way you want, and Mr. Butler, you proved my point.
And what I'm asking you is to bring it down from 2.5 and do your job on that and not try to get money from somewhere else. Look at the budget. Make honest cuts. You hired 4 more cops, possibly 5. That's all increases. Wait till next year and the following year with the increases on that. We're declining population and you're putting more people on the payroll. What is it?
And the
for this
crime
township?
rate was going up, and that's what the people wanted.
Excuse me.
Okay, certain people
We got
didn't
one
want it, but
person at the
I'm not listing them
microphone.
right now.
All right.
Are you
Listen.
anything else?
I also want to bring up that our deputy mayor brought up. I don't know if you read the Gazette. I'll take the time because I deserve the time for paying taxes and living in this township. Here you got a 3.1 short for doing restorations. And they're actually bringing in and getting help from the environmental organizations. Does anybody, DEP or FEMA, really care about the people as far as floods and all? No, they care more about horseshoe crabs and red knots. So now they're using them. Middle Township is smart going this way. And I think Lower Township should follow suit with these organizations because they're more concerned and they'll get beach replenishment, just like Reed's Beach did twice already, that they built it up and nothing's been done down here. This is a good article and hopefully you guys read it and maybe got a little knowledge from it and would pick it up and do it and help out this township too? Because we're in dire need. If anything happens, this whole thing's gone.
That's what we voted again tonight, to send forward that resolution on that resiliency grant. Once they do the study, then we'll be shovel-ready for a lot of these projects. We're not.
What the hell does studies do? Let's get down to it. Studies are studies and
They're not
studies,
gonna
but
give us money
nothing
without
comes
the
out.
study.
You don't think they're just going to say, let's back the trucks up and pour sand over there? You have to have a plan, and this is where we fought to get $250,000 for engineering fees just to be able to develop that kind of a plan. And once that's done, then you have something that you can actually take and shop for grant money with it. And this is, it's a long process, and we've been through this. The township turned down in 1998,
Right.
and you know what we're talking about, and
I
that's
definitely
had an
know.
impact on everything since then.
Yeah. So from that being turned down, and the Army Corps of Engineers put you on a back burner,
Yes, they
and
do.
you can't get up there. But take the red knots and the horseshoe crabs. You guys will get up there. We'll
That's
have
why we
peace
didn't get the
with
last
place.
one from the Sandy money, as Mr. Clark stated very clearly. It's because our area is for that area, so they weren't going to
Environmental.
give us that money.
Right.
So Ed, to your point, this is one of the reasons we reached out to Senator Van Drew, because you're right, Middle had a good idea, but it was one little stretch. We need to go together. The Bay Shore region needs
It
to
does.
join hands. All the towns have the same interest in solving this problem, and instead of going one at a time, the idea is let's get all the towns together and get in front of the DEP, get in front of the state, and get in front of the federal government and come up with a solution to this that makes sense for our entire region.
Well, just hopefully the time factor is we don't have any real serious storms here to prove that should have been done. But you know what? Thank you for your time, and hopefully the budget will get straightened out a little bit more the 6th of April. It has to be done by the 20th of April? 24th. So we got actually just one more meeting to discuss the budget.
The budget hearing is April 20th.
All right, guys, think about it. Thank you for your
It's
time.
April 20th for the meeting, but we...
Anybody else wish to address council? Yes, Kellen.
The budget meeting is the 20th.
I just, Helen Thompson, my handy dandy phone tells me that Sea Isles, their 2015 budget, no local tax increase. Township reiterates, let's see, who was this? Another one really quick, hold on. Oh, wait a minute, sorry. That is Upper Townships Committee held at Petersburg. No tax increase. You had Gloucester introduces a budget, no tax increase. Medford starts with zero tax increase. That was published 6 days ago. And
Thank you.
that's just what, and I did want to say one thing really quick. 2014, police put out their crime report. Crime went down. Calls went down, not up, down. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Janet Pittsville's, I want to reiterate what Helen just said. Maybe you should take a look at the 2014 police report, annual report. Calls went down, crime went down, everything went down. Also, I'll remind you, in 2012, we had 38 police officers. If you're going to raise it to 46, that's 8 in total police officers. As far as taking the MUA money, the way you get surplus is you overcharge to begin with. So the MUA is overcharging the ratepayers that they build up as surplus. And in years past, the MUA has justified it because they had to lay water lines and they needed this money. So I'm happy that Mr. O'Connor is so generous with the ratepayers' money. However, I don't agree with it, that he should give it up so easily. I don't know exactly where he's coming from with that, but I'm opposed to it. I'm quite sure most of the ratepayers are. I think a township has a surplus. We apply it to our budget so that we don't hit the taxpayers even worse. And I don't see why you should take the surplus from the MUA. Like I said, if they're overcharging enough to build up a surplus and they obviously don't need it to lay lines, then they can give it back to the ratepayers in a rate decrease. And I'd be happy to talk to the other ratepayers, about that. Second thing is, I'm a little shocked that you intend to have at the April 6th meeting, the county give their presentation on, I suppose, their study of the public safety building, which leaves us, April 20th, when the budget is put out there to be approved. At what point does the public get to talk about the budget and any ideas they may have? And then finally, I looked at the budget, and I know we're into a lot of shared services, but I note specifically we don't have the West Cape May shared service anymore. So it's good that you're getting others, but that is not in the budget for the revenue. So maybe you want to take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Close the public portion.
No. She just said something real quick. Do we lose something?
Our interlocal with West Cape May
It's still,
is currently in effect. I don't know.
it's probably under an item that
It is in the budget.
it's there.
Okay.
I know it's there, but we'll,
It's not in the interlocal with the SROs or the county's repair of their vehicles. That category, shared services. I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with West Cape May.
Yeah, I just don't want
It's
that
an
information getting
interlocal
out there.
shared service agreement. It should be in that category.
all right, well, we'll double check and let you know,
Thank
but
you.
the agreement's still in effect. All right, we close the public portion. Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
Game, set, match.